Keep an eye out for the golden star that will appear on screen during the video. If you spot it, comment the time frame you saw it in. Get it right, and you'll get a shout out in our next video. Happy hunting! Verdant Peak was a city that bloomed like a perennial garden under the relentless sun. It was a city unlike any other, where skyscrapers twined towards the sky like ivy, their glass surfaces reflecting 1,000 shades of green from the gardens on every balcony. The streets, alive with the soft luminescence of bioluminescent plants, pulsed gently beneath the feet of its citizens, a daily reminder of the city's heartbeat, synchronized with nature itself. In the heart of this botanical utopia, Leo worked in the solitude of his laboratory nestled within the University of Botanical Research. It was here among test tubes and terrariums that Leo spent his days, coaxing secrets from the soil with a patience and precision that spoke of a deeper passion, a yearning to make a difference, to find a breakthrough that would further harmonize the delicate relationship between technology and ecology. Today, however, was different. Today, Leo had stumbled upon something that whispered promises of forgotten lore and hidden truths. Tucked away in the back of an ancient botany book, he found a seed. Not just any seed. This one was encased in a silvery sheen, its surface etched with intricate patterns that seemed to pulse with an inner light. Leo turned the seed over in his hand, his mind racing with possibilities. What secrets does this seed hold? What stories could it tell? Without a second thought, Leo prepared a pot with the richest soil he could find, a mix of humus and vermiculite, and gently nestled the seed into its new home. He positioned the pot under a growth lamp, adjusting the light to mimic the soft glow of early morning sun, the kind that coaxed life from the dormant. As the day gave way to the velvety embrace of night, the city of Verdant Peak continued its serene existence, oblivious to the small act in Leo's lab that was about to challenge everything. The seed, under the watchful eye of the lamp, began to stir. A tiny sprout broke through the soil's surface, rapidly unfurling its leaves towards the light, growing at a pace that defied natural laws. Within hours, what started as a sprout had become a sapling. Leo watched, his eyes wide with wonder and a trace of concern. He murmured to himself, This isn't possible under normal conditions. What are you?" By morning, the sapling had transformed into a towering tree, its branches pressing against the ceiling of the lab. The power grid flickered as roots, now thick as pythons, burrowed deeper, reaching out and disrupting the city's subterranean utilities. The ground beneath the lab trembled, ancient cobblestones shifting, revealing the hint of something even more extraordinary. Ruins, ancient and long forgotten, lay hidden beneath Verdant Peak. The discovery was monumental, yes, but fraught with implications. Leo knew this was a turning point, not just for him but for the entire city. As he stood in the shadow of the colossal tree, a mix of awe and apprehension filled him. He thought, this could change everything. But am I ready for what comes next? This tree, sprung from ancient seed, was more than a botanical anomaly. It was a bridge to the past, and perhaps, a beacon for the future. As the first rays of dawn filtered through the leaves, casting a kaleidoscope of light across his face, Leo realized that the path ahead was uncharted, thrilling, and terrifying in equal measure. He took a deep breath, ready to step into the unknown. As dawn broke over Verdant Peak, the colossal tree in Leo's lab had not only breached the laboratory ceiling but had started weaving its way towards the light, its branches scratching the morning sky. The city, still nestled in the arms of sleep, was unaware that its very foundation was being altered, its subterranean secrets nudged by the relentless roots of an ancient behemoth. The disruption started subtly, an occasional flicker of lights here, a short burst of static on the radios there. But it grew quickly into a cascade of electrical surges that swept through the city grid. Panic was not immediate. In a city that thrived on its harmonious blend with nature, minor disruptions were often nothing more than momentary hitches. However, as residents of Verdant Peak began their day, the impact of the overnight growth became unavoidably evident. Traffic lights blinked out of sync, and streetcars halted mid-journey as the power grid struggled under the strain. From his laboratory window, Leo watched, his thoughts racing faster than the spreading chaos. How could a single seed cause such upheaval? What power lies dormant in the ruins beneath us? The city's response was swift. Emergency crews were dispatched, their vehicles threading through the congested streets, and soon, Dr. Cora Vane arrived at the university. Her presence was commanding, her eyes reflecting the morning light with a steely resolve. She approached Leo, who stood amidst the sprawling roots of the tree, his face a canvas of wonder and worry. "Dr. Vane," Leo started, hesitating under her scrutinizing gaze. "I know this looks bad, but this tree, it's not just an anomaly. It's a connection to..." "A connection to what, Mr. Leo?" Dr. Vane cut in sharply. "To our past? Or to the potential downfall of our current ecosystem? Do you understand the risks involved here?" Her words hung heavy between them, each syllable laden with the weight of responsibility and fear of the unknown. Leo felt the burden of her concerns but couldn't suppress his own burgeoning curiosity. Is fear of the unknown reason enough to destroy what could be our greatest discovery? He pondered silently. Meanwhile, the ground beneath the lab continued to shift, revealing more of the ancient ruins. Fragments of pottery, metallic objects engraved with symbols similar to those on the seed's casing, and crystalline structures that shimmered with an internal light were slowly unearthed. Each artifact whispered echoes of a bygone civilization that had once mastered the art of living in sync with nature, perhaps even surpassing the current day. Dr. Vane, observing the unearthed relics with a mix of awe and apprehension, finally spoke. "This site needs to be secured, and this tree, it needs to be contained before we fully understand what we're dealing with." Leo nodded, understanding her position yet driven by an insatiable curiosity. "Allow me to study it, to learn from it. There's so much it can teach us about sustainability, about balance." Dr. Vane considered his plea, her gaze shifting from the towering tree to the sprawling city outside. After a long moment, she conceded. "You have 48 hours, Leo. Gather whatever data you can. After that, we decide how to proceed based on facts, not conjecture." As Dr. Vane departed, leaving Leo with the monumental task ahead, the scientist turned back to the view from his lab, a city pulsing unevenly, like a heart learning a new rhythm. The stakes were high, and the clock was ticking. Leo's mind was a whirlwind of thoughts. "What secrets do you hold?" he silently asked the ancient tree, hoping that in its vast, ringed memory it held answers that could bridge the past with the future, for the sake of all in Verdant Peak. The lab was quieter now, the city's initial shock settling into a murmur of distant activity. Verdant Peak's morning sun cast long, golden beams through the tangled branches of the ancient tree, now a permanent fixture in the skyline. As Leo stared up at the sprawling limbs, his mind oscillated between fear and fascination. The next 48 hours were not only a gateway to untold discoveries, but also a tightrope walk over a chasm of potential catastrophes. Dr. Cora Vane's words echoed in his ears, a relentless reminder of the ticking clock. Gather whatever data you can. Every minute had to count, and with such a brief window to explore the tree's secrets, Leo felt the weight of urgency pressing down on him. As he donned his gloves and grabbed his tools, his first task was clear. He needed to understand the biochemical properties of the tree. Samples of leaves, bark, and root tissues were meticulously collected. The laboratory buzzed with the hum of machinery as samples were analyzed, revealing extraordinary photosynthetic efficiency and previously unknown compounds that hinted at the tree's ancient origins. Outside, the city was trying to adapt. Power fluctuations continued, albeit less frequently, as engineers worked tirelessly to stabilize the grid. The populace, ever so adaptive, began to marvel at the tree, their initial apprehension giving way to curiosity. Social media buzzed with images and wild speculations about the origins and implications of Verdant Peak's newest resident. Back in the lab, Leo delved deeper into the mysteries unearthed beneath the tree. The artifacts, pottery shards with intricate carvings, metallic objects, and luminescent crystals, were not just remnants of a bygone era. They were pieces of a puzzle that stretched back centuries. His hands trembled slightly as he arranged the fragments on his work table, each piece resonating with the history of a civilization that had once thrived in harmony with nature's rhythms. Amidst the clutter of his thoughts, Leo mused, these people understood something we've lost along the way. Their technology wasn't just advanced, it was thoughtful, sustainable. He documented every detail, taking notes and photographs, preserving the integrity of his findings. The potential of integrating this ancient wisdom with modern technology could redefine their understanding of sustainability. But he knew the challenge lay in convincing others, especially Dr. Vane. As evening approached, Dr. Vane returned to the lab, her expression unreadable. The tension between them was palpable, a silent clash of fear against hope. "Show me what you found, Leo," she said, her voice steady but not without a trace of curiosity. Leo presented his findings, his voice firm with conviction. "Look at these compounds, unlike anything we've encountered. And these artifacts suggest they used technology in ways that enhanced their environment, not exploited it." Dr. Vane examined the data, her skepticism slowly eroding with each piece of evidence. The luminescent crystals, in particular, caught her attention. They seemed to store energy, much like solar cells, but with far greater efficiency. Her eyes, always so guarded, reflected a flicker of astonishment. This could change everything," she admitted, though her tone carried an undercurrent of concern. "But it also poses risks. If we're not careful, we could disrupt the delicate balance we've worked so hard to achieve." Leo understood her fears. He shared them. But his desire to explore the full potential of their discovery was undiminished. "We stand on the brink of a new dawn," he thought, his resolve strengthening. "What if we're cautious? What if we proceed with the utmost respect for what we've found?" Dr. Vane paused, considering his words. The room filled with the thick silence of decisions yet to be made, of futures balancing precariously on the edge of choices. "I'll think about it, Leo. We'll discuss this with the council tomorrow. Prepare your findings for presentation. It's not just my decision, it's our city's." As Dr. Vane left, the lab felt larger and lonelier than before. Leo gazed at the artifacts, each whispering tales of a forgotten harmony between humanity and nature. With the night deepening around him, he prepared for the morrow, determined to bridge the past with their future, knowing the road ahead was fraught with challenges yet buoyed by the hope of enlightenment. Outside, Verdant Peak slept under the watchful gaze of the ancient tree, a sentinel in the night, its secrets barely touched, its stories just beginning to unfold. The night had deepened into a serene quietude as Leo prepared for the monumental day ahead. His lab, awash in the soft glow of artificial lights, seemed almost reverent, a sanctuary where past and future were about to converge. His thoughts were a maelstrom, swirling with the potential of what was to come. What will the council say? How can I ensure they see the promise, and not just the peril? He wondered, his fingers brushing against the cool surface of an ancient metallic object. Morning dawned crisp and clear, the air charged with a palpable sense of anticipation. Verdant Peak was waking up, its citizens blissfully unaware of the pivotal discussions that would soon take place. Leo, with a final glance at his meticulously prepared presentation, packed the last of the artifacts into secure containers. Each item was a voice from a civilization long silenced, now resounding in a modern metropolis that teetered on the brink of revolutionary change. The journey to the city council was a short one, but to Leo, it felt like crossing an immense distance. Each step was heavy with the weight of responsibility. The ancient tree, its branches now a familiar part of the skyline, seemed to watch him go, its leaves whispering in the gentle morning breeze. The council chamber was a room of high ceilings and long shadows, where decisions that shaped the destiny of Verdant Peak were made. As Leo entered, the room hushed, all eyes on the young botanist whose discovery had overnight become the city's most contentious issue. Dr. Vane was already there, her expression inscrutable. She nodded to Leo, a silent acknowledgement of the gravity of the moment. The council members, an assembly of seasoned politicians, environmentalists, and technologists, looked on with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. "Ladies and gentlemen," Leo began, his voice steady despite the butterflies in his stomach. "What I am about to present to you is not just a discovery, but a legacy from our ancestors who knew the balance of nature and technology far beyond what we have achieved. This ancient tree and the artifacts from beneath it hold keys to sustainable advancements that could benefit us all." One by one, Leo displayed the artifacts, luminescent crystals that hummed with stored solar energy, pottery with carvings that detailed water purification methods, and metallic tools designed with ergonomics and efficiency in mind. Each item was a testament to a society that had not only survived but thrived by respecting its environment. Dr. Vane took the floor next. "While I share Dr. Leo's enthusiasm for this discovery, we must tread carefully," she cautioned, her gaze sweeping across the room. "Our current ecosystem is delicately balanced. Integrating this ancient technology without fully understanding its implications could lead to irreversible changes." The room buzzed with whispered conversations and exchanged glances, some fearful, some filled with wonder. Leo listened, his heart sinking slightly with each note of caution. Yet, his resolve did not waver. A council member, an elderly woman with sharp eyes, raised a question that cut through the murmurs. "Dr. Leo, how do you propose we explore these technologies without endangering our current systems?" Leo responded, "By establishing a dedicated research team that works in phases. We start small, scale responsibly, and monitor every step for environmental impact. This way, we ensure that we do not repeat the mistakes of the past but learn from them." The proposal sparked a flurry of discussions, with viewpoints clashing and converging. As the debate wore on, Leo found himself defending not just his findings but a vision of a city that could lead the world in truly sustainable living. After hours of intense deliberations, a decision was made. The council agreed to a preliminary investigation into the ancient technologies, under strict supervision, with Dr. Vane and Leo at the helm. It was a cautious yes, but a yes nonetheless. As the chamber emptied, Leo felt a mixture of relief and daunting anticipation. He stepped out into the daylight, the ancient tree's silhouette a stark reminder of the journey ahead. Verdant Peak, with all its modern splendor, was on the cusp of embracing its buried past. And Leo, at the heart of this convergence, was ready to guide it through the uncharted waters that lay ahead. As the decision from the council settled over Verdant Peak like a fine mist, the city began to pulse with a new rhythm, a blend of ancient whispers and modern technology. Leo felt a taut anticipation tightening within him as he prepared to lead the new research team, a diverse group of scientists, historians, and environmental experts handpicked to navigate the delicate integration of past wisdom with future aspirations. The initial meetings were electric, charged with the enthusiasm of pioneers on the brink of a new frontier. Leo, feeling the weight of his new responsibility, knew that the balance between innovation and preservation was a fine line. "We are custodians of a legacy as much as we are architects of the future," he mused, looking around the table at the eager faces of his team. However, not everyone shared this excitement. Outside the confines of their lab, a wave of skepticism and fear began to ripple through Verdant Peak. Concerns about the unknown effects of the ancient technologies on the environment, and the social implications of such rapid change, sparked heated debates across the city. Community forums filled with voices raised in both concern and curiosity, and the media spun stories that ranged from hopeful to ominously speculative. Dr. Vane, ever cautious, became a frequent figure in these public forums, her presence a reassuring beacon to those afraid of what the future might hold. "We must approach this with the care it warrants," she would say, her voice firm yet empathetic. Our steps are measured, our eyes open. We owe it to ourselves and to our children to tread thoughtfully. Meanwhile, in the lab, the team made fascinating discoveries almost daily. The luminescent crystals, when paired with modern photovoltaic cells, showed a significant increase in efficiency. The ancient pottery, once decoded, revealed methods of water purification that used natural filtration materials unknown to modern science. Each discovery was a beacon of potential, casting light on paths not yet taken. Yet, with each breakthrough, Leo found himself defending their work not just in the lab but in the court of public opinion. At one town hall meeting, a heated exchange captured the city's divided heart. How can we trust that these technologies won't backfire? How do we know we're not unearthing something that should have stayed buried? A concerned citizen demanded, her voice echoing in the crowded room. Leo stood, his response clear and composed. Every step we take is overseen by a team of the city's best minds. We're not rushing into this blind. We are aware of the risks, but we also see the immense benefits. Imagine a verdant peak that not only sustains but rejuvenates, not just for us but as a model for the world. His words, spoken with a passionate conviction, seemed to resonate with many, but doubts lingered like shadows at dusk. The ideological battle was not just about the safety and ethics of integrating ancient technologies. It was about the very identity of Verdant Peak. As weeks turned into months, the research team's efforts began to bear fruit in tangible ways. A pilot project using the ancient water purification methods was launched, serving a small community with remarkable success. News of this success spread, bringing a new wave of support that slowly began to tip the scales. Dr. Vane, witnessing the careful yet undeniable progress, found herself increasingly in the role of mediator between the past and the present. Her conversations with Leo grew more collaborative, their mutual respect deepening as they navigated the complexities of their task. One evening, as the sunset painted the sky with strokes of orange and pink, Leo and Dr. Vane stood beside the ancient tree, now a symbol of Verdant Peak's burgeoning new era. "We are on the right path," Leo said, his gaze reflecting the fiery sky. "It's not just about what we're bringing to light, but how we're doing it, responsibly, respectfully, and with an eye toward a sustainable future." Dr. Vane nodded, her earlier reservations tempered by the careful progress. "Yes, we are learning from the past to build a better future. And perhaps, in doing so, we are finding a new way forward, not just for Verdant Peak but for all who look to us as a beacon." The ideological battles, while not entirely quelled, had found a common ground in the shared hope for a harmonious future. As the stars began to twinkle in the twilight sky, Leo felt a quiet confidence that they were indeed crafting a legacy worthy of both their ancestors and the generations yet to come. With the dawn of a new day over Verdant Peak, the shadows of skepticism that had clouded the city's heart began to disperse, slowly replaced by the golden hues of optimism and trust. Leo, fueled by the previous evening's supportive words from Dr. Vane, knew the time had come for a broader demonstration of their findings, a tangible display that would either cement the city's faith in their work or ignite irrevocable fears. The venue for this crucial demonstration was the city's central plaza, a vast area surrounded by a blend of modern and ancient architecture, where citizens often gathered. It had been transformed overnight into a living laboratory. At the heart of it all stood a replica of the ancient water purification system, reconstructed using the designs decrypted from the pottery fragments. It was a simple yet elegant setup, using natural materials and gravity-fed filtration that shimmered with the wisdom of the past. As the plaza filled with curious onlookers, local media, and key city officials, Leo felt a surge of nervous energy. He reviewed his notes one last time, whispering to himself, "Let the clarity of our intentions be as transparent as the water we purify today." Beside him, Dr. Vane offered a reassuring nod, her presence a solid reminder of their shared commitment to tread carefully. The demonstration began with Leo addressing the crowd, his voice clear and carrying. "Today, We bridge the gap between ancient wisdom and our future aspirations. This system, inspired by artifacts over 1,000 years old, represents not just innovation, but a return to sustainability that respects our natural resources. With a dramatic pause, he turned on the taps, allowing the murky water from a nearby river to flow through the newly built system. The crowd watched, spellbound, as the water cascaded through layers of sand, charcoal, and a luminescent mineral that was once buried beneath their city streets. Within moments, the output was undeniable. Crystal clear water flowed from the other end, collected into a large glass bowl for all to see. Applause broke out, mingled with murmurs of disbelief and awe. Cameras flashed as reporters hurried to capture the moment, broadcasting it across the city and beyond. Leo allowed himself a small smile, but his true moment of relief came when he locked eyes with a group of skeptics from the previous town hall meeting, now nodding with cautious approval. The demonstration did more than showcase a technology. It sparked a conversation throughout Verdant Peak about the potential for more such innovations. Local schools organized trips to the plaza, turning the demonstration into an educational exhibit, and discussions about sustainability practices began to take a more prominent place in public discourse. However, the true test came when the City Council convened to decide the future scale of the project. With Dr. Vane's endorsement and the public's burgeoning support, Leo presented detailed plans for a city-wide implementation of the ancient yet newly adapted purification system. As we've witnessed, the technology not only works but does so in harmony with our environment, Leo argued, his presentation backed by data from the demonstration and testimonials from environmental experts. What we propose is not a replacement of our current systems but an integration, a way to reduce our ecological footprint while enhancing the quality of life for all citizens. The council's debate was intense, the stakes clear to all involved. After hours of deliberation, a vote was taken, and the decision was made to proceed with a pilot program for broader implementation, monitored closely for any ecological impacts. As Leo and Dr. Vane stepped out of the council chamber, the weight of the decision seemed to lift slightly, giving way to a cautious optimism. Verdant Peak had decided to embrace its past to secure its future, and Leo felt a profound connection to the city and its people, united by a common desire to forge a sustainable path forward. Under the ancient tree, which had sparked this incredible journey, Leo and Dr. Vane watched the sunset, the sky ablaze with colors that seemed to promise a brighter future. Today, we turned a page in our city's history, Leo reflected, his voice low but full of emotion. And it's a page we write together, as a community committed to learning from the past as we build a sustainable tomorrow. Dr. Vane, looking at the vibrant sky, nodded. Yes, and it's a journey that we continue with vigilance and hope, inspired by the legacy that lies both beneath and above us. In that moment, as the stars began to emerge above Verdant Peak, the city felt not just like a place, but a living, breathing entity, poised on the edge of a new era, with its roots deep in ancient soil and its branches stretching eagerly towards the future. The early rays of the sun bathed Verdant Peak in a warm, golden light, heralding a day that felt charged with the pulse of new beginnings. The city, now embracing its journey towards an integrated future, seemed to resonate with a renewed sense of purpose. The streets buzzed with discussions about the successful water purification demonstration, and the hopeful energy was palpable. In the heart of this revitalized city, Leo started his day with a sense of accomplishment and anticipation. The pilot program for the water purification system was about to begin, and while the approval from the council provided a solid foundation, the real work, implementing the technology on a larger scale, was just starting. He thought to himself, this is where theory meets reality, where our plans face the ultimate test. The selected site for the pilot was on the outskirts of the city, near a community that had long struggled with water-related issues. The area, once vibrant, had seen better days, with its water sources polluted by years of industrial runoff and neglected infrastructure. The community's cautious optimism about the new system was a mirror of the broader city's mixed emotions. hope tinged with a legacy of disappointments. Leo and his team, along with Dr. Vane, arrived at the site early, greeted by a small crowd of local residents and a few media representatives. The setup for the purification system had been expanded to accommodate the community's daily needs, and every detail had been meticulously planned to ensure both efficiency and sustainability. As the system was inaugurated, Leo explained the process to the gathered crowd, his voice infused with a passionate sincerity. This system doesn't just represent a technological advancement, it embodies our commitment to living in harmony with our environment. By using methods inspired by ancient wisdom, we're not only cleaning water but reviving a philosophy that views nature as a precious ally. The water began its journey through the newly installed system, visibly dirty at first but emerging clear and safe. The crowd watched intently, a collective breath held until the first glass of purified water was poured and tested. When the results came in, clear of contaminants, the crowd erupted in applause. The relief and joy were immediate, a shared moment of triumph that transcended previous barriers of doubt. But the true measure of success came from the community elders, who had seen promises come and go like the seasons. One elder, her face lined with the maps of many hardships, stepped forward, her eyes glistening with unshed tears as she took a sip of the water. For years, we've waited for a change, feared to hope too much. Today, I see not just clear water, but a clear promise being kept. Leo, watching the scene unfold, felt a profound connection to the moment. We're doing more than changing water. We're changing lives, restoring trust, he reflected, his heart swelling with the realization of the impact their work had begun to make. The successful implementation in the community led to further endorsements from other parts of the city. As news of the project's success spread, more communities began to petition for the system's expansion. Each new installation brought not only cleaner water but also a sense of empowerment, as residents participated in maintaining and understanding the technology. Meanwhile, Dr. Vane, who had once been a voice of caution, now championed the project's expansion, her initial reservations tempered by the tangible benefits she witnessed. At a city council meeting, she spoke with an uncharacteristic fervor. What began as a cautious experiment has blossomed into a beacon of hope. This project is a testament to what we can achieve when we blend respect for our past with faith in our future. The pilot program's success marked a turning point for Verdant Peak, shifting from tentative hope to a robust, city-wide initiative. The ancient tree, under whose shade the project had been conceived, stood as a silent witness to the city's transformation, its leaves whispering in the breeze as if in approval. As the sun set on another day, the city's skyline, a mix of modern structures and natural beauty, seemed to reflect the new ethos of Verdant Peak. Under the watchful gaze of the ancient tree, Leo and Dr. Vane discussed future plans, their conversation filled with possibilities. Today, we sowed seeds of change, Leo mused, looking towards the horizon. And these seeds will grow, rooted in the rich soil of our shared heritage and watered by our collective efforts. Dr. Vane nodded, her smile broad and genuine. Indeed, and let us continue to nurture these seeds, for they hold the promise of not just a rejuvenated city, but a revitalized world. Together, they watched the stars appear, the night sky a canvas of possibilities, each star a symbol of the community's hopes and dreams, now brightly shining on the path of sustainable renewal. The sun had barely crested the horizon over Verdant Peak, casting long shadows and a soft glow that seemed to whisper of untold possibilities. Today was a day of celebration and reflection, marking the first anniversary of the water purification system's citywide implementation, a project that had transformed not just the landscape but the very spirit of the city. The main square of Verdant Peak had been festively adorned with banners and lights, reflecting the vibrant energy that now coursed through the city's veins. Plants that once struggled to grow in polluted soils now flourished around the square, their lush greenery a testament to the restoration efforts inspired by ancient wisdom. Leo walked through the square, his eyes taking in the jubilant scene. Stalls had been set up by local entrepreneurs, showcasing sustainable products, from recycled materials to solar-powered gadgets, that had sprung up as a direct result of the city's new ethos. The air buzzed with the chatter of excited citizens, their conversations a melody of hope and progress. "Quite the transformation, isn't it?" Dr. Vane said, joining Leo by one of the stalls. Her eyes sparkled with pride as she observed the community's enthusiasm. "It's more than I hoped for," Leo admitted, watching a group of children laugh as they played near a fountain, its water crystal clear and safe. "It's not just the technology that's taken root, it's the mindset that has changed. We're not just adapting ancient methods, we're evolving with them." The festival was not just a local affair. Dignitaries and environmental leaders from around the world had come to witness Verdant Peak's transformation, eager to learn how they might replicate its success in their own cities. Workshops and tours were organized, with Leo and his team leading discussions on the integration of the old and the new, the challenges faced, and the victories celebrated. As the day progressed, Leo took to the stage to address the gathered crowd. The square fell silent, all eyes on the young scientist whose vision had sparked a renaissance in Verdant Peak. "Today, we celebrate not just a successful project but a successful philosophy," Leo began, his voice resonant and clear. "A year ago, we embarked on a journey to reconcile our city's needs with the wisdom of our ancestors. We sought to prove that it is possible to innovate responsibly, to grow without degrading the treasures of our planet." He paused, letting his words sink in, then continued. "What we achieved here can be a model for cities worldwide. It's a call to action, to look not only forward but backward, to learn from history, to build futures that honor our past." The applause was thunderous, echoing off the buildings like rolling thunder. As it died down, a panel of environmental experts took the stage, discussing the broader implications of Verdant Peak's success. The Verdant model, as it had come to be known, was dissected and debated, its merits touted by some as a blueprint for urban sustainability, while others cautioned the need for adaptation to different cultural and environmental contexts. As the sun set, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, a round table was convened with Leo and Dr. Vane, the dignitaries, and several environmental policymakers. Together, they drafted the Verdant Declaration, a set of guidelines and commitments for sustainable urban development, inspired by the lessons learned in Verdant Peak. "The world is watching us," Dr. Vane said during the roundtable, her voice imbued with a mixture of gravity and hope. "Let's ensure they see a path forward that is viable, vibrant, and just." The day ended with a light show in the square, the beams dancing across the sky, mimicking the northern lights, an homage to nature's enduring beauty and power. Leo stood beside Dr. Vane, watching the lights. "We've started something here that can't be undone," Leo mused, his eyes reflecting the myriad colors above. "It's a ripple that I hope will spread far beyond our city limits." Dr. Vane smiled, placing a hand on his shoulder. "From a single seed, a mighty forest grows, Leo. We've planted the seeds. Now we nurture them and watch them grow." As the crowd dispersed, leaving in their wake a sense of accomplishment and anticipation for the future, the stars appeared, one by one, in the clear night sky. Each star seemed to twinkle with possibilities, echoing the light show's tribute to nature's beauty, a reminder that even in a city reborn through technology, the greatest power lay in the hands of those who respected and harnessed the wisdom of the earth. As the vibrant festivities of the day faded into the calm hues of dusk, Leo found himself walking along the banks of the river that flowed through Verdant Peak. The water, once a murky reminder of industrial neglect, now ran clear, mirroring the sky's twilight colors. The transformation of the river was symbolic of the city's journey, a testament to the possibility of renewal and change. Dr. Vane joined him, her presence a comfortable silence as they both took in the peaceful scene. "It's moments like these that truly reflect the impact of our work," she remarked, her tone contemplative. "Seeing the city celebrate today, it's clear that our efforts have cultivated more than just clean water. They've revitalized a community. Leo nodded, his mind replaying the events of the past year. I think about the skepticism we faced in the beginning, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. The fear that change might bring about unforeseen consequences. It wasn't just about proving the technology. It was about proving that we could do better by our ancestors' wisdom and by our future. They continued to walk, the river's gentle sounds a soothing backdrop to their conversation. And yet, despite the challenges, the city adapted, evolved, and embraced a new way of living. It's a powerful reminder that change, while often daunting, is also ripe with opportunity. Dr. Vane added, her gaze reflecting the water's serene flow. As they approached the newly installed community garden that bordered the river, the scents of blooming flowers and fresh earth were potent. The garden was another community project that had sprung from the city's newfound commitment to sustainability. Families could be seen in the fading light, tending to their plots, children laughing as they planted seeds. Leo stopped to watch a young boy gently water a row of young saplings. Do you see that, Dr. Vane? Those children are learning to nurture life, to understand the balance of nature. They're growing up with a mindset we could only have dreamed of instilling at the project's inception. Dr. Vane smiled, her eyes warm. That's the true measure of our success, isn't it? Not just in the projects we've implemented or the accolades we've received, but in the legacy we're building. These children, this community, they're the real fruits of our labor. As the sky darkened, the first stars of the evening began to appear, each one a distant beacon of light in the vast, open sky. Leo and Dr. Vane found a bench by the river, settling in to watch the night unfold. It's strange to think about how far we've come, Leo mused, his gaze fixed on the twinkling stars. A year ago, all of this was just an idea, a plan on paper. Now it's a living, breathing part of Verdant Peak. It makes me wonder about the seeds we've planted, how they'll grow in the years to come. Dr. Vane turned to him, her expression thoughtful. That's the beauty of what we've started, Leo. These seeds will grow beyond our own capabilities to imagine. They'll be nurtured by those who come after us, shaped by the needs of the future. And just like the river, they'll find their way. They sat in silence, the tranquility of the evening enveloping them. It was a silence of completion, of cycles that had closed and new ones that were beginning. The challenges they had faced seemed less daunting in retrospect, necessary steps on a path that had led to a brighter, more hopeful present. Finally, Leo spoke, his voice steady and sure. Tomorrow, we begin planning for the next phase, expanding our reach, exploring new technologies, and perhaps starting more projects like this one. Dr. Vane nodded, her gaze still on the stars. Yes, tomorrow, the work continues. But tonight, we reflect on our journey, on the paths we've taken and the paths still to unfold. As they rose to leave, the night settled around Verdant Peak like a gentle embrace. The stars overhead were not just points of light but symbols of endless possibilities, a constellation of hopes and dreams for a city reborn. In that moment, Leo felt a profound gratitude for the journey, for the city, and for the companionship of colleagues like Dr. Vane who had dared to dream alongside him. Together, they walked back towards the heart of the city, their shadows long on the ground, cast by the light of a world that had embraced change and was moving confidently towards a brighter, more sustainable future. As the tranquility of the night deepened around Verdant Peak, the city, aglow with the success of its transformation, seemed to pulsate with a vibrant promise. The streets, once quiet at this hour, now thrummed with the gentle sounds of nightlife, a community re-energized by its newfound harmony with nature. Leo, walking alongside Dr. Vane back towards the center of the city, felt an unspoken bond with the streets he traversed. Each corner, each park, each neighborhood bore the marks of their endeavors, from the solar-powered street lights to the community gardens that now flourished in once abandoned lots. As they approached the city council building, the site of many pivotal discussions and decisions over the past year, Leo paused, his gaze lifting to the starry sky. Look at how much we've achieved in just 1 year, he mused aloud. It makes me think about what more we can do, not just for Verdant Peak, but as a model for other cities. Dr. Vane, following his gaze, nodded slowly. The Verdant model, as they're calling it, has indeed set a precedent. But the true test will be in how we continue to adapt and evolve. Sustainability is not a static goal, it's a continuous journey. The conversation turned to the future as they entered the council building, now empty except for the echoes of the day's celebrations. They walked through the halls, their footsteps resonant with purpose, and settled into the conference room where tomorrow's planning session would take place. Leo unfolded a map of the city across the table, its sectors marked with various colors denoting different environmental projects. Here, he pointed to the Eastern District. We could pilot the Vertical Gardens project, using the empty wall spaces of buildings to grow food and improve air quality. Dr. Vane leaned over the map, her finger tracing the river that wound through the city. And along the river banks, we could expand our biofiltration systems to not only clean the water but also create habitats for wildlife. It would help restore the biodiversity that was once a hallmark of this region. Their ideas flowed freely, each suggestion sparking another, a cascade of possibilities that could further entwine the city's fabric with the green threads of sustainable practices. As they planned, the weight of responsibility was palpable, yet so was the exhilaration of innovation. We're not just repairing the past, Leo said, a note of determination in his voice. We're redesigning the future. This, he gestured to the map, is just the beginning. As the clock struck midnight, marking the start of a new day, Leo and Dr. Vane wrapped up their session, their minds abuzz with the plans that would soon be set into motion. They stepped out of the council building into the cool night air, the city's lights reflecting off the river like scattered diamonds. The work never really ends, does it? Dr. Vane remarked, a hint of weariness edged with optimism coloring her tone. Leo smiled, his eyes reflecting a deep, steadfast resolve. No, it doesn't. But each day is a step forward, and every step counts. We're building something lasting here, something bigger than either of us. As they parted ways, the promise of the coming day lingered in the air, a silent vow to continue the work they had started. Verdant Peak, once a testament to what could go wrong, now stood as a beacon of what could go right when a community rallied around a shared vision of sustainability. The stars overhead, a timeless canopy of light, seemed to nod in approval, their brilliance a guide for the path Verdant Peak was charting into the future. And Leo, walking alone now, felt an overwhelming sense of pride and purpose. Verdant Peak was his home, his project, his legacy, a city reborn under his watch, growing greener with each passing day. Did you spot the golden star in today's video? If you did, make sure to comment the time you saw it to be mentioned in our next video. Thank you for sharing a moment of your day with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Really helps a lot. If you don't, well, I'll still love you. Thanks for stopping by.